This is the story of a dream
I had this nightmare about this hole in the ground.
that became an arcade classic. This is the history of the Atari game Tempest on this episode of JRPG. In 1981, a young programmer named Dave Toyer has just finished his first big arcade hit, Missile Command, a game he created partly based on his dreams. These dreams would aid Toyer once again creatively, eventually leading to another one of his arcade achievements.
I had this nightmare about this hole in the ground, and there's these monsters from the center of the earth that are trying to get out of the hole, and you have to smash them before they get out of the hole and kill you.
This game was saved from the cutting room floor and was initially intended to be something very different.
Well, Tempest started out as first-person Space Invaders. I thought Space Invaders was one of my favorite games, and I thought, well, if I do first-person Space Invaders, that'll be a blast. So I whipped it together and had a marketing review on it. And we all played it, and it was okay, but it wasn't a lot of fun. So I basically just took first-person Space Invaders and wrapped the surface into a circle, into a tunnel, and had the monsters coming down the tunnel at you, like coming out of a hole in the ground, and you tried to kill them before they got out.
It is known as a tube shooter from the shoot 'em up genre of shooting games. Tempest was a pioneering game in a few different aspects. It was Atari's first game to utilize the skill step feature, which allowed players to increase the maximum starting level depending on the player's performance in the previous game, essentially allowing the player to continue, which was unheard of at the time. Tempest also became one of Atari's first games to use color quadrascan vector display technology, or vector graphics for short. The game also was one of the first video games to sport a progressive level design, in which the levels themselves varied rather than giving the player the same layout with increasing difficulty levels. Other popular arcades that would use vector graphics are Asteroids, Star Wars, Lunar Lander, and Battlezone. Vector graphics would even come to home consoles in the form of the Vectrex. Ports of the arcade were not as immediate or as numerous as you might think. It had versions in the works for the Atari 2600 and the 5200, but they were never finished. The game was later released for the Atari ST sometime after 1985. Other computer ports came in 1985 for the BBC Micro and the Acorn Electron, and one last wave of ports came for the ZX Spectrum and the Amstrad CPC. Tempest would not see a console release until 1994, with its sequel, Tempest 2000, for the Atari Jaguar, also known as Tempest X3 for the original PlayStation. Tempest 3000, the final official sequel, was later released exclusively for the Nuon in the year 2000. Tempest has been released for various consoles as parts of collections and collaborations from 1996 to 2010. And in 2013, the prototype of Tempest for the Atari 5200 was finally completed and sold. Numerous unofficial copycat games came out between the 1980s and today that had similar playstyles and mechanics as Tempest, while some also incorporated some of their own original designs as well. Tempest has gained notoriety for being a possible catalyst for the gaming urban legend Polybius. American skeptic producer and author Brian Dunning believes that the mythical game was just an alternate version of Tempest, because players of both Polybius and Tempest in the same area suffered illnesses at around the same time. Enduring the test of time, Tempest has still remained as one of the top arcade classics of all time, and is still mentioned in popular culture today, and is embossed on merchandise. Growing up, Tempest was one of my favorite games to play on the PlayStation Disc Arcade's Greatest Hits, the Atari Collection Volume 1. And it's still one of the games that I always look for whenever I go to an arcade. All gameplay footage in this video is captured by me on the Atari Flashbacks Collection Volumes 1 and 2 for the PlayStation 4. And a little fun fact for you, that Tempest footage from the Atari 2600 is actually the unfinished prototype that they included on this disc, which was never finished. So have you ever played this monster shooting game? Leave your thoughts and comments below, and thanks again for watching this episode of JRPG. I'll see you next video.